There's a kind of death that doesn't make the news. No funerals, no mourning. Just a man who wakes up one morning and realizes he feels nothing. He goes to work. He laughs when required. He lives, at least that's what it looks like. But inside, something's gone. Not his heart, not his body, his purpose. And the worst part? No one even notices. It doesn't happen all at once. You don't wake up and say, "Today I'll lose my meaning." It's slower. Like water dripping on stone, tiny moments wearing you down until you can't remember what fire ever felt like. You tell yourself you're just tired, just busy, just adjusting to adulthood. But the truth is, you're not adjusting. You're surrendering. The dreams you once had, the hunger you once felt, they start fading quietly in the background. You don't kill them, you just stop feeding them, and the world applauds you for it. You're responsible now. You've matured. But maturity without meaning is just decay that looks respectable. You stop chasing what sets your soul on fire and start chasing what simply doesn't hurt. Comfort replaces curiosity. Routine replaces risk. And slowly you forget who you were before the world told you who to be. We work so hard to create a comfortable life, only to be trapped by it. You tell yourself you're building stability, a safe home, a reliable job, predictable days, but safe turns to stagnant. Predictable turns to numb. And one day, you realize that comfort isn't the reward, it's the cage. You stop waking up with a reason. You just wake up because you have to. You move through the hours mechanically, eat, drive, smile, respond, repeat. Everyone calls it being responsible. But inside, you know you're disappearing. The scariest part isn't being lost. It's getting used to being lost. You forget what it felt like to want something deeply. You forget what it meant to fight for something that mattered. You forget that you once had a pulse beyond survival. That's how most men die now. Not from war or illness, but from quiet, daily obedience to a life they don't love. There's a heaviness that sits on your chest. Not pain, just weight. You can't point to it. You can't explain it. It's just there. You walk around with it every day, and when someone asks, "Are you okay?" you say yes, because you can't find words for the emptiness. It's not depression. It's not sadness. It's the slow erosion of meaning. The small talk feels endless. The notifications never stop. The world screams for your attention, but none of it reaches you. You sit at the dinner table surrounded by people and feel like a ghost. You scroll through faces and stories, but they pass through you like smoke. Connection without presence, noise without depth, life without pulse. You start wondering, is this all there is? Is this what I was made for? To perform instead of live? And that thought terrifies you. So you drown it. In work, in distraction, in anything that keeps you from facing the silence. Silence used to feel peaceful. Now it feels like static, an endless hum you can't escape. So you fill it. Music, videos, messages, scrolling, anything to avoid the quiet. Because the quiet has questions you can't answer. Why am I still here? What am I becoming? Who would I be if I stopped pretending? You tell yourself it's normal. Everyone lives like this. Everyone's tired, everyone's distracted. But deep down, you know the truth. We're not living, we're sedating, and we call it progress. We've mistaken stimulation for connection, busyness for purpose, distraction for peace, and the cost is our humanity. Every time we scroll past pain, ignore the ache, or suppress the voice inside that says, "This isn't enough," we trade a piece of our soul for comfort. That's how the modern world wins. Not by breaking you, but by keeping you comfortably numb. One night, you catch your reflection in a dark window. You stare at yourself, not out of vanity, but because you don't recognize the person looking back. The eyes are dull, the face is tired, the fire gone. You wonder, when did I become this version of myself? The one who doesn't dream anymore, the one who doesn't risk, doesn't reach, doesn't care. You remember flashes of the old you, the man who once believed he could do anything, the boy who stayed up at night imagining a better world. He's still in there, but buried, under fear, under expectation, under fatigue. That's the real loss. Not time, not money, but self. The world doesn't kill the man in you. It convinces you to bury him and call it maturity. Eventually, something cracks. It always does. It might be a breakup, a loss, a moment where the mask slips, and you finally see the emptiness behind your own smile. You try to escape it, again. You work harder, distract faster, pretend better. But now the silence has learned your name. It follows you. You lie in bed at night, scrolling through meaningless noise, and feel this quiet panic that says, "Is this all I'll ever be?" That's the moment right before awakening, when the illusion of control breaks, when you realize success, approval, validation, none of it fills the void. Because the void isn't outside you, it's the absence of your own mission. You've lived so long for what others expected. You forgot to ask yourself what you expect from you. And when that truth hits, it hurts. Because you realize the man you lost was yourself. But here's the secret. Purpose doesn't die. It waits. It hides in the things that still move you, even when everything feels heavy. A song that still hits you. A cause that still matters. A dream you still replay at 2 a.m. but pretend you don't care about anymore. That's where your purpose lives. Not in success, not in validation, but in what still makes you feel. So you start again. Small, quiet. You wake up a little earlier. You do one thing. Not for money, not for show, but because it matters to you. And for the first time in years, you feel something again. Not happiness, not euphoria, but aliveness. The pulse returns, soft but steady. You breathe deeper. You start noticing the world again. The sound of rain, the weight of your own heartbeat. That's how men heal. Not by avoiding the silence, but by learning to walk through it. Purpose doesn't make life easier. It makes it bearable. You'll still hurt. You'll still fail. But now it means something. The pain has direction. The struggle has weight. The silence has purpose. And one day, you'll wake up, and that quiet death inside you will be gone. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You stopped chasing comfort and started chasing meaning. You stopped running from the darkness and started walking through it. And in that darkness, you found yourself again. So if you've lost your purpose, don't panic. You're not broken. You're just waiting to remember who you were before the noise began. The fire never died. It just needed you to stop pretending it didn't exist. Because when a man finally remembers why he was born, the world starts to change around him. Not louder, not brighter, just real again.